Hey everyone, it's Emma Spear. I am a second company dancer with Northwest Arkansas Ballet Theater. In just a minute, we are going to get started with our Pilates mat class. So grab your mat, something comfy to move in, and we will get started in just a couple minutes. We are going to get started with our mat class in just a minute. Go ahead and find somewhere comfortable to lie down. If you have a mat, grab that. If you don't, you can use a towel, comfortable piece of floor, whatever you have nearby. Make sure you're in clothes that you can move in. We'll get started in just a minute. One more minute to see if anyone else joins our live video. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start standing today. As you come in, please feel free to join in. Feet are about fist distance apart in parallel, arms down by your sides. Just start to breathe. If you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. Nice long inhales, nice long exhales. Inhale, reaching the top of the head up to the ceiling. Exhale, softening the neck and shoulders. Inhale and exhale. We're going to inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Nice big reach through the fingers. Exhale to lower down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. Inhale, sweep your arms up and pause. Grab onto your right wrist, lift up a little taller, fold over to the left side. Nice deep breaths into the rib cage. Back to center. Switch the clasp of your hands up and over to the other side. Long inhales and exhales. Back to center. Lower your arms down. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, chin to chest. Start to roll it down. Soften your knees. Rolling forward one vertebrae at a time. Arms and head are heavy at the bottom. Nice deep breath in. Sink a little deeper as you breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Use your next inhale to prepare. Exhale, belly button the spine. Roll it up one vertebrae at a time. Standing up nice and tall. Take a long inhale. Exhale, roll it back forward. Chin to chest. Shoulders, upper back, middle back, lower back, hang heavy. If your hands can reach the floor here, go ahead and plant them against the ground. If they can't, you can reach towards the floor or place them on your legs. Keeping your heels down, we're going to inhale, bend your knees. Press your chest into your thighs. Try to get as close as you can. As you straighten your legs, send the tailbone up towards the ceiling, the top of the head down towards the floor. Inhale, we bend the knees. Exhale to straighten. Inhale, bend. And extend. One more time. Bend. And extend. Take a nice deep breath in. Head and arms are heavy. Exhale, belly button to spine. Roll it up one vertebrae at a time. Standing up nice and tall at the top. Give your shoulders a couple rolls. Open your chest. We're going to inhale, sweep the arms up overhead and pause. Rotate your body just slightly to that right side. So just a small rotation with the rib cage. Your hips should still be square. We're going to dive down to the right, reaching your fingers for the ground, rolling towards the floor, getting that extra stretch in the right side of the back. Your hips are still square, knees are still soft. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, scoop the belly out. Stay in that slight rotation, rolling up. One vertebrae at a time. Standing tall, We're going to sweep the arms from right to left and roll down the left side. Small rotation from the waist. Rib cage is slightly rotated. Nice deep breath in at the bottom. Hips are still square. Exhale, belly button to spine. Roll it up one vertebrae at a time. Sweep the arms from left to right. And we roll it down. Dive forward. Soften the knees. Square hips. Hands are framing that right foot. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, abdominals roll you back up. Sweep the arms over to the left. Roll it down. Hands frame that left foot. Exhale to roll up. Arms come all the way up overhead. Lower them down by your sides. Take one more roll down to the center, chin to chest. Roll it forward, one vertebrae at a time. Plant your hands against the floor. Bend your knees all the way. Let your heels come off the mat. Sink back. Maybe you're getting a little bit of a stretch in the back of the ankle. Drop your chin to your chest. Breathe into the back. And gently sit down on your mat. Legs come out in front of you, about fist distance apart in parallel. Hands come behind your thighs. Shoulders out of your ears as you sit up nice and tall. Take a long inhale through the nose. Exhale, scoop the belly out. Tuck your pelvis, curl back into a C curve. Shoulders down. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale to curl back, scooping the belly out. Shoulders out of the ears. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, curl. Inhale to lengthen. Last one, curl back into that C curve and pause. Pull your shoulders out of your ears. Open your collarbone. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, roll back one more inch. Inhale to pause. Exhale, back an inch. If your feet feel too far away, step them in. If you want a little bit more challenge, do this with your arms reaching straight forward instead of behind your thighs. We are rolling back 1 inch at a time. You are going to come all the way down to the floor. Shoulders out of the ears. Scoop the belly out. Coming all the way down. Lying flat on your back. Hands come down by your sides. Feet are about fist distance apart in parallel. Shoulders are nice and wide. We have a nice long neck. Finding that neutral spine. Back of the head is down against the mat. There's a little lift underneath your neck. Your thoracic spine and rib cage are down against the mat. There's a natural curve in your lower back that should allow a tiny bit of space between the bones of your lower back and that mat beneath you. And then your sacrum and tailbone are down against the floor. Your hip bones and pubic bone should be level here to have that nice neutral pelvis. You're not imprinting your lower back with your pubic bone up towards the ceiling or arching your lower back with your hip bones up towards the ceiling. Nice and level to start. Take a long inhale through the nose. Exhale, scoop the belly out, tuck your pelvis, imprinting the lower back, soften the neck, open the chest. Inhale as you come back to neutral. Exhale to tuck, imprint the lower back, use those abs, soften your toes. Inhale back to neutral. Exhale, tuck. Get rid of that space between your lower back and the mat. Use the abdominals to make that happen. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, neutral. Tuck. And back to neutral. We're going to start to tilt your pelvis anteriorly, so you're going to go the opposite way. Inhale, lengthen your abdomen, stick your tailbone out, find a small arch in the lower back. Your rib cage should be as close to touching the mat as possible. If you can keep it down, please do so. Inhale, back to neutral. We tilt the pelvis away, lengthening the abdomen, allowing the pubic bone to drop lower than the hip bones, and then they come back to level. Inhale to tilt, finding that slight arch. And neutral, don't force it from your lower back. Think more about lengthening from the abdomen. It can be subtle, it does not have to be huge. Last one, tilt back to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, tuck your pelvis, imprint your lower back. Come back through neutral and tilt the pelvis away. Through neutral to tuck. And through neutral to tilt. Soften the neck and shoulders. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, tilt. Warming up the core, warming up the pelvis and the spine. Last one, tilt. and tuck. Come back to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in. Now your knees are going to stay still. Don't let them wobble from side to side. Keep them centered. Sink the back of the right hip nice and heavy into the mat. Your pelvis should tilt down to the right just slightly. We come back through neutral and over to the left. Through center to the right and through center to the left. Think about disassociating your hips from your legs and from your spine. It is just the pelvis that is going from side to side. Your legs have no side to side movement. Your back is staying nice and still. Both sides of the rib cage should stay touching the mat. Last 3, nice wide shoulders. 2, 1, coming back to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, tuck your pelvis. We are going to circle. Imagine your pelvis is a bowl full of water. You're going to start to swirl that water over to your right hip, out to your tailbone, over to your left hip, and back to your tuck. Right hip, tailbone, left hip, tuck. Right hip, tailbone, left hip, tuck, and we're going to reverse. Left hip, tailbone, swirling that water around. Right hip, tuck. Legs are as stable as possible. Left hip, tailbone, soften the neck and shoulders. Tuck. Last one. Left hip, tailbone, right hip, tuck. Release back to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in. From the abdominals, tuck your pelvis, imprinting the lower back. Start to push down into your heels, lengthen your toes, rolling your hips up into a bridge. 1 vertebrae at a time peels off the mat, pushing from your hamstrings, glutes, and abs, not from your lower or upper back. Keep the rib cage down. Exhale, scoop the belly out, roll it down. Upper back, middle back, lower back, sacrum, tailbone. Inhale to neutral. Exhale to curl up. Scoop the belly out. Engage your hamstrings and glutes. Rolling up. Tailbone, lower back, middle back. Maybe part of your upper back, but don't force it. Scoop the belly out. Roll down. Nice and slow. Toes are long. Equal weight inside, outside edge of the foot. Exhale. Curl it up. Inhale to pause at the top. Exhale to roll down. Nice and slow. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, we're going to curl up into your bridge and pause at the top. From here, inhale, lower your hips an inch. Exhale, lift an inch. Lower an inch, lift an inch. Nice wide shoulders, abs, hamstrings, and glutes. Your knees are staying about fist distance apart, like you're holding a tennis ball between them. Here's 3 and 2. Lift and hold. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, curl it down. Upper back, middle back, lower back, sacrum, tailbone. Come all the way to neutral. Take a nice deep breath. Your pelvis is neutral. Hip bones and pubic bone are level. Waist is nice and long. Equal weight in the back of each hip. You can gently push down into the backs of the arms. If you decide that you want a little bit more challenge with this today, you can sweep your arms straight up over your shoulders and hold there. That just means that you don't have that support system of the backs of the arms against the floor. Keeping the pelvis nice and still, we're going to float your right leg up to tabletop and pause there. Your knee is bent at 90 degrees. Make sure it's not bent too much or too little. Your shin is making that table. Both hips are equally weighted into the mat. We're going to inhale, hinge from your hip joint to touch your right toes down. Exhale, lift it back up, keeping your rib cage gently knitting together. We lower and lift. The slower the better. Make sure that your toes aren't touching the floor because of a bend in the knee. Keep that leg up. Exhale, lift and lower. Lift and lower. Maybe you're doing this with your arms reaching up. Maybe you need that pressure into the backs of the upper arms. Pelvis is not wobbling. The goal here is pelvic stability, which means that nothing in the hips is changing. It's just the leg moving. Let's set that right foot all the way down. Reset your hips, long waist, equal weight in the back of each hip. And the left leg comes up to tabletop. Rib cage is knitting together. The left toes tap down and pull back up. Your waist stays long. You keep equal weight in the back of each hip. Don't forget to breathe. Hinging from the hip joint, your knee is bent at 90 degrees. Use those abdominals. Soften the neck as much as you can. Lift and way down against the mat. Open your arms out to a T position. Backs of the hands meet the floor. Walk your feet all the way together. Your knees come to touch. Shoulder blades are glued down to the mat. Inhale, sway both knees over to the right. Your left shoulder blade stays glued down to the mat. Hold in your twist for a moment. Maybe you're feeling a nice stretch. Maybe it's a little stretch. Just breathe, soften the neck. Exhale, engage your abdominals and pull your legs back to center. Inhale, we go over to the left. That right shoulder blade is glued down. Hold for a moment, breathe into your twist, and then use those abdominals to bring the legs back to center. Yes, your legs are strong enough to pull themselves back to center. Can you make the abs do it instead? Exhale, pull, soften the neck. Inhale, over. Exhale, pull. Pause when you arrive back at center. Separate your feet about fist distance apart. Lace your fingers all the way together. Place your hands at the base of your skull. Shoulders are wide, elbows are wide, but don't force them to the floor. Let them hover up a little bit. You're pulling your shoulders away from your ears. That'll help keep the tension out of the neck. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, send the bottom of the rib cage towards the top of the hip bones, curling the head, neck, and shoulders up. Inhale to lower down. Exhale, curl rib cage to hip bones and lower. As you do this, don't initiate by bringing your chin to your chest. That's just going to cause that tension in the neck that we want to avoid. We want all of this to come from the abs. We curl and lower. Soften the neck. Toes are long. Hips are heavy into the mat. Last two. Just using the abs, not the neck. Really let your hands support your head. Last one, curl up and hold. Pull your shoulders out of your ears. Use your abdominals, not your neck or shoulders, to curl up an inch and down an inch. Up an inch, down an inch. Just the abs. Up and down. Here's 3, 2, soften the neck. 1, lower your head all the way down. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, rib cage to hip bones, curl it back up, shoulders are down. Take the bottom of the left side of your rib cage, pull it as if it's going to touch the top of the right hip bone. We come back to center and rotate the other way. Lift higher through center, don't let yourself drop, and twist. I don't want you to think about elbow to knee here. Don't close the elbows in front of you. Keep the elbows and shoulders wide, legs are still, just the rib cage is doing the twist. Everything else follows along. It's not initiating. Last 3, shoulders down. 2, keep breathing. Last 1, back to center. Use your abdominals to curl up a little higher. Lower your head all the way down. Take your hands down by your sides and take a nice deep breath. Stabilize your pelvis back in neutral. Level hip bones and pubic bone, long waist. We're going to keep your left leg exactly where it is. It's going to be tempted to kind of open out to the left side. Keep your knee lined up with your hip. It's hugging that midline of your body. Keeping that left hip heavy, we're going to slowly open your right knee out to the side. Not too far. Start at about halfway. Check your hips. Did you rock towards that leg? Did your left hip lift a little bit away from the mat? Is there still equal weight in the back of each hip? There should be. Use that left oblique to make sure that stability is there. Allow your right inner thigh to help as you close that knee back to center. You can take this as far as you feel that you can without losing that stability of the pelvis. For a lot of people, that's about halfway. For those of us who are more flexible, you really have to think about that left hip staying down, even if you can get the right knee all the way out to touch the ground. I do want it to hover today. Don't let it collapse into the floor. Maybe you're only moving 2 or 3 inches because that's all that your pelvis can stabilize today. All of those are great options. Just keep the pelvis stable. No wobbles. It's not going to rock over. No twisting. Last one on this side. Bring that knee back to center. We're going to go to the other side. Now your right knee is hugging your midline. You're going to open that left knee out. Maybe halfway, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Bring it back in. As you open, don't let that right hip lift. If you need to tactilely place your hands on your hips to feel whether they're moving or not, take that option. Shoulders are wide. We open and close. Open and close. We're taking about 2 or 3 more depending on your pace. Don't rush. Keep those hips nice and level. Keep those abdominals pulling in. Last one. Bring it back to center and pause. Nice long inhale. Stabilize your neutral pelvis. We're going to exhale. Bring your right leg up to tabletop. Bring your left leg up to tabletop. Squeeze your knees together. Nice neutral pelvis here. Keep the waist long. Allow that natural curve in the lower back. Stabilize all of that. Remember, you can push down into the backs of the arms. If you want to go back to arms reaching up over the shoulders, take that option. Keeping those abdominals engaged, we're going to hinge from the hip to touch your right toes down to the mat and draw them back up. So the reverse of what we did earlier. Left toes touch down and we lift. Think about almost reaching your toes away from you to make sure that you're coming from the hip and not just by bending the knee to touch the toes down. Long waist, equal weight in the back of each hip. Shoulders are out of the ears. Here's 3, 2, last one. Bring both legs up. Take a nice deep breath in. We're going to exhale, tuck your pelvis. Imprint your lower back into the mat. Inhale, release back to neutral. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, release. As you tuck your pelvis, try not to hug the knees into the chest. Your goal is to tuck your pelvis without the legs changing. That's going to make the low belly work super hard to do it instead of the weight of the legs making it happen. Last one, exhale, tuck and pause. Imprint the lower back. Flex your feet. Both heels lower down towards the floor. Don't let your lower back leave the mat. Exhale, lift. If you need your hands down by your sides here, take them down by your sides. If you want that extra challenge, arms are reaching up. Keep the lower back imprinting. Try not to let the belly rise towards the ceiling as the heels lower. Don't lose that connection of the lower back to the mat. Last 2, nice wide shoulders. Last one, bring both legs up to tabletop. Pause, hands come down by your sides. Point your feet, extend both legs straight up to the ceiling. We're going for corkscrew. You're going to take both legs over to the right. Allow your left hip to lift a tiny bit. Left shoulder blade stays down. We're going to circle down and around to the left side. And we come back to center, and then you're going to reverse. One in each direction. Over to the left, circle down around to the right, back to center, and go the opposite way. Over, circle, center. We are alternating. Over, circle, center, using those abs. You can push down into the arms however much or little you would like. Open the chest, deepen the breath. One more in each direction. Last one. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Nice deep breaths. We're going to go for a set of hundreds here. You have a few options. The easiest version of hundreds is feet down against the mat. To make it a little bit harder, both legs come up to tabletop. To advance it more, both legs will extend. And then from here, the lower your legs come to the floor, the harder it's going to be on those abs. So you choose the position that your legs need to be in. Don't let your back arch. It should either be neutral or slightly imprinted if you need it. We're going to take your arms straight up over your shoulders. Find your position with your legs, wherever that is. Exhale, rib cage to hip bones. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Pause. If you need to place one or both hands behind your head or put your head down against the mat, take that option. Start to pump the arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoulders away from the ears. Really breathe. Nice strong pumps with those arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Bend your knees if they're not already. Curl up an inch higher. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Nice deep breaths. Very nice work. Giving your abdominals a quick little break. We're gonna roll onto one side. Whichever side you'd like to start on, we're gonna do both. Bottom arm is extended if that's accessible for you. If it doesn't work, bend your elbow, add a small pillow, a rolled up towel or blanket, whatever modifications you need to make. Fingertips can be on the mat in front of you, not your whole hand, just your fingers. They're there to balance you, not for you to push into. If you want a little bit more challenge, take that top hand onto your hip. If that bottom hip starts to bother you at any point, you can always pat it, folding up your mat, adding a towel or a blanket, or you can try turning your legs in. Sometimes that will relieve the pressure without any additional padding. Toes are pointed, feet are just slightly forward of your hips, just slightly in front of them, almost a little banana shape. Starting with the bottom side of the waist, pulling up away from the mat as if it's actually gonna come off the floor. Exhale, both legs are gonna lift up into the air. That space underneath your waist will go away as the top side of the waist shortens. You lower the legs and the waist lengthens. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Head is heavy, soften the neck. Lift and lower. Nice and slow. Try not to kick and drop the legs. Move with control all the way through. Last two. And one, lift and hold. Flex both feet. Your bottom leg lowers down to the mat and squeezes up. A little bit of inner thigh work. Lower and lift. Stay parallel. Try to touch your ankle bones and your inner thighs together. Don't let that top leg move. Stay truly parallel. Here's three. Don't forget to breathe. Two. One. Lift both legs up a little higher. Lower all the way down. Bend your knees, find your clam position. Heels go straight out from the base of your seat. Your waist is lifting up away from the mat, nice square hips. Think about that neutral pelvis. We just did those exercises lying on your back where you were opening and closing the knee without the hips moving. This is very similar to that, except it's going to be focused on the glutes instead of the abs. Exhale, your top knee opens into your clam. Your pelvis has not shifted even a little bit. We close. Exhale, open. And close. Soften the neck and shoulders. As you're doing this, your abdominals are staying engaged. That supporting side of the waist is lifting up off the mat. Exhale, open and close. If this feels easy to you, think about how you can make it harder. Create resistance in your body. You're moving through water with that leg. You're pushing through molasses. You have a TheraBand tied around your legs that you're resisting as you move. Last three. Really feel the work in the glute, not so much in the outer thigh. You might feel a little bit of work there, but if it's mostly in the outer thigh, your hips are probably moving. Keep them still. Open the knee and hold little tiny pulses with just the top leg for 8, 7, 6. Breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your knees. Take a nice deep breath. Knees stay down against the mat. Feet pick up into the air. Square your hips. Lift your waist away from the floor. Whatever height your feet have lifted to, that's where they're going to stay. Exhale. Just the top leg moves as you open your knee and close. Remember, when you were on your back, your hips were not moving. It's the same thing here. Pelvis stays completely still. Your leg is moving from within your hip joint. Open and close. Soften the neck. Open and close. Here's 4. Create that resistance. How can you make it feel challenging? 3, 2. We open and hold just the top leg. Little pulses for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your knees. Set your feet down. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to come up onto your bottom elbow. If that doesn't work for you, go back to where you just were. This elbow should be forward, almost lined up with your knees, not back in line with the hips or your body is going to twist. You can do whatever you need to with this bottom hand. It can be flat against the mat. It can be in a fist, whatever feels best in your arm. Pull your shoulder out of your ear. Lock it down. Lift your ribs and your waist up away from the floor. Top hand can be on your hip or behind your head. Shoulders out of the ears. You can stay right here if this is as far as you can go today. Otherwise, we're coming up into a little knee plank. Hips come off the mat. Keeping your hips square. This top hip keeps pushing forward. Exhale, open that top knee. Inhale, close. Keep those abs engaged. We open and close. This bottom shoulder is locked away from your ear. Keep breathing. Open and close. Lift your rib cage and hips up away from the mat. Open and close. Square shoulders. Don't let them look down towards the floor. Both shoulders are open. Both hips are pointing in the same direction. Here's 4 and 3. Here's 2. Open and hold. Little pulses, just the top leg. 8, 7, breathe. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your knees and pause. We're gonna lower your hips down to the mat. Pick them right back up. Little hip dips. Lower and lift. Use those abs to really pick the pelvis up away from the ground. Lock that bottom shoulder out of your ear. Hovering at the bottom makes it a little bit harder. Here's 3, shoulder out of the ear. 2, last one, lift and hold for 5, 4, keep breathing, 3, 2, 1, lower your hips down, roll onto your back, take your figure 4, stretch that same leg that was just on top, ankle crosses over the opposite thigh. Option to hug that bottom leg towards you for more of a stretch. Nice deep breaths. Gently untangle the legs and we'll come over to the other side. Bottom arm is extended if that's accessible to you. If it's not, bend your elbow, add some kind of padding, modify as needed. Legs are straight, toes are slightly forward of the hips. You can have fingertips on the mat or hand on that top hip. Shoulders are out of the ears as much as possible. Exhale, both legs lift. Inhale to lower. Shortening the top side of the waist as the legs lift, lengthening as they lower. Soften the neck. Keep breathing. We lift and lower. Don't kick and drop. The legs should be controlled the whole time. Keep your ankles and inner thighs squeezing towards each other. We have 2 more here. Lift. Last one, lift and hold. Flex both feet. Your bottom leg lowers down to the mat and squeezes up. If this feels easy, can you pick that top leg up a little higher and still bring the bottom leg to meet it? Keep the top leg in a stable position. Soften the neck. Keep those abdominals engaged. Here's 4 and 3, 2, lift and hold. Pick both legs up a little higher. Lower all the way down. Bend your knees. Find that clam position. Your heels are straight out from the base of your seat. Your waist is lifting up away from the mat. Pelvis is nice and stable in neutral. Exhale, just the top leg moves as you open the knee and close. Your hips, your pelvis are not shifting at all. Your leg is moving from within the hip joint. Open and close. Soften the neck as much as possible. Keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Here's 4, just that top leg is moving. Create that resistance in your body. Make it feel challenging for that glute. Last one, we're gonna open and hold. Little pulses for 8, 7, 6, abs, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your knees, take a nice deep breath. Feet come up off the mat, hold them at their new height. Waist is still lifting away from the floor. Exhale, open and close. We open and close. Whatever level your feet are at, they are staying there. It doesn't have to be super high, but wherever it is, keep them right there. Pelvis is not shifting. Think about that nice neutral position. Just the leg is moving from within the hip joint. Here's 4, soften the neck. 3, keep breathing. 2, last one, open and hold. Just the top leg moves. Little pulses for 8, 7, 6, breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your knees, set your feet down, take a nice deep breath. We're going to come up onto that elbow. If that's not accessible to you, stay lying down against the floor. Lock that shoulder out of your ear. Remember, your elbow is more forward, lined up with your knees instead of back, lined up with your hips. Square hips, square shoulders, top hand is on your hip or behind your head. You can stay right here if you need to, otherwise those hips come up. We're in that little elbow plank. Pull your shoulder out of your ear. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. Open and close. Now, especially in this position, don't let your body twist. Your shoulders might try to twist towards the floor. Keep them open. Your hips might try to open to the ceiling. Keep them square. This top hip bone should point straight forward, as if your hip bones are car headlights. You don't want them to veer up towards the ceiling. They're pointing straight towards that wall in front of you. Keep breathing. Here's 3. Create that resistance in your glute. 2. Open and hold. Little pulses for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your knees. Lower your hips down, and we're going to pick them right back up. I have a very confused Great Dane looking at me through the window. Lift. Inhale, lower your hips. Exhale, lift. Lock that shoulder out of the ear. Actively lift from the waist. Get that oblique really, really super turned on. Up. Last 3. Here's 2. Last 1. Lift and hold for 5. Shoulder down. 4, 3. Keep breathing. 2, 1. Lower all the way down. Roll onto your back. Take that figure 4. Nice deep breaths. Same leg that was just on top comes on top here. Hug that bottom leg in for your deeper stretch. Long inhales and exhales. Gently untangle your legs. We are going to go into my favorite abdominal series, double leg stretch, single leg stretch, and crisscross. If your neck starts to bother you at any point, put one or both hands behind your head or lower your head down to the mat. Your legs will not come past tabletop. They should not come into your chest during this series. Once we get started, they won't. They should stay in tabletop. They should never come past that 90-degree angle of knees over the hips. Shoulders out of the ears. We're going to bring one leg at a time up to tabletop. Squeeze your knees together. Exhale, rib cage to hip bones. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Reach up. Place your hands on your shins just below your knees. You're in tabletop. You are not hugging your knees into your chest. Shoulders out of the ears, collarbone wide. The more you pull the shoulders down, the less the neck is going to tense. Inhale, extend your arms and legs out in opposite directions. Circle the arms out to the sides. Come back to tabletop. Hands come to your shins. Reach and circle. You can use the arms for a little bit of leverage. You can pull on your shins just a little bit to try to curl up higher. Just make sure that that doesn't turn into the knees hugging into the chest. Modify for your neck as needed. Keep breathing. We reach and circle. Reach and circle. Here's 3, 2, last 1. Bring it in and hold in tabletop. Both hands come to the right leg. The left leg goes straight out. We switch. Shoulders down. Switch. Make sure that you're not hugging that knee into your chest. It should stop at tabletop. You're trying to bring your chest to your thighs, not your thigh to your chest. Here's 3, 2. Keep breathing. 1. Both hands behind the head. Add a rotation. Twist. Twist. Elbows stay wide. Remember, this is a rib cage to hip bone kind of twist, not an elbow to knee. Don't let those knees pass tabletop. Here's 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees in. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Nice deep breaths. We're going to reach your legs straight out along your mat. Walk them all the way together if that's accessible to you. If it's not, they can be hip distance apart. Feet are pointed. If you need to flex them, you can. Just keep your feet down against the floor. Don't let them lift. Reach your arms back by your ears. Shoulders are out of the ears. Arms are hovering above the floor. We're going to inhale, sweep your arms up to the ceiling. Rib cage to hip bones. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Use those abs to curl all the way up to seated. Leaning forward at the top. This is not a collapse over the legs. It's an active reach. Getting a little bit of a stretch through the back and the legs. Scoop the belly out. We roll down. One vertebrae at a time. Inhale, arms come back by the ears. Exhale, curl up. Scoop the belly up. Reach it forward at the top and curl it back down. Inhale and exhale. Shoulders stay out of the ears. Think rib cage to hip bones. On your next one, we're going to roll up to the top and hold. Pausing in that seated position. We are going to roll like a ball. It is exactly what it sounds like, and it is a lot of fun. If you have any kind of spine issues, you're welcome to pad your back, folding your mat over in half. Whatever modifications you need to make. It is harder on a padded surface just because you're not rolling quite as articulately. So be prepared. If you're on carpet, your mat might slide a little bit. Just be aware. We're going to grab onto each shin individually. So you're not lacing your fingers together. You're not wrapping your arms. Holding each leg by itself. Shoulders out of the ears. We're going to lean back just enough that you can hover both toes off the ground. This is your ball shape. However close your knees are to your chest right now, that's where they should stay. You shouldn't let your knees get any further from you or any closer because both of those allow you to use momentum. We want to try to use those abdominals to articulate the spine. Additionally, you shouldn't let your feet kick out in front of you. They should stay heels as close to the glutes as they are right now. Shoulders out of the ears. You're going to try to maintain this exact shape as you inhale, roll back. Keep your chin to your chest. Don't let your head touch the mat. Exhale to come up. Whoop. Back and at the top, see if you can balance on your toes. Roll back and feet don't slam into the mat. Try to hover, roll, and up. As you roll back, notice if your legs are straightening out. Try to keep them compact. Roll and up. Your goal here is to get spinal articulation. Continue like that. So as you roll, you should feel that lower back, middle back, upper back, and then that reverse as you come back up. Go with control, don't throw yourself around. We're taking about 2 or 3 more. Roll and up. Don't kick the legs out. Shoulders down. Last one. And up, turn your legs out. Take a little butterfly stretch. You can lean forward over your legs. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to do one more version of rolling today. If that bothered your spine, don't worry about it. You can take a rest, stretch for a moment, or go back to any of the exercises that we've already worked on today. We are going to do seal puppy. This one is fun. You get to clap your feet. We are going to come to that same position where you're kind of leaned back, toes are hovering, and then you're going to turn your legs out. Take your arms inside your legs and wrap them around to grab your feet. Your feet are together like you're in that butterfly stretch. You're going to clap your feet together 3 times. I'm serious, it's a real exercise. You're going to roll back like you just did. Roll up and clap your feet. If you want more of a challenge, you roll back. Clap your feet 3 times at the back. Roll up, clap your feet 3 times at the top. We roll, clap, and up, and clap. Try to find your balance. If this is too much, go back to rolling like a ball. We're taking just about 3 more. Roll back, clap your feet, 1, 2, 3. Roll up, clap your feet, 1, 2, 3. Last 2, shoulders down, keep breathing. Scoop the belly out. It's that same articulation through the spine. After your last one, bring yourself all the way up. You can lean forward, take a stretch. Good work. Nice deep breaths. Seal puppy. Look it up. It's a real Pilates exercise. We're going to come onto hands and knees next. Finding that quadruped position. Hands are lined up underneath your shoulders. Knees are underneath your hips. They're about fist distance apart. You're spreading your fingers out nice and wide. If you have any kind of wrist problems or if they just start to bother you today, come up onto your fists. Or you can take your mat, a towel, a blanket, fold it over, place the heel of your hand on that raised surface, and take your fingertips off. Whatever modifications you need to make. From here, we have a nice flat spine. Shoulders are square. We're going to take your right leg. Reach out behind you, flex your foot, square your hips. Your hips should not be rotated out to the right. Toes are pointing straight down at the ground, and we're hovering that leg up. If you can get to hip height, go there. If you can't, don't worry about it. Notice if you shifted your whole body over to the left. Try to bring it back to center. Lift your belly up and in, and you have the option to reach that left arm straight forward. We're just going to hold here, breathe. Make sure that right elbow doesn't lock straight. Give it the tiniest little bend. Square your hips, square your shoulders, lift your belly. We're going to set the left hand and right knee down. Take your left leg out, flex your foot, square your hips, hover the leg up, lift your belly, don't let your back arch. And an option for that right arm to go forward. Long inhales and exhales. nice deep breath. And we're advancing a little bit. Same thing, right leg goes out. Your left arm has the option to go forward. If you don't want to, just leave that hand on the mat. We're gonna open your left arm out to the left, your right leg out to the right, and close it back in. As you do that, try not to drop and wobble and twist. Keep yourself as square as possible. We open and close. It's coming from those abs. Open, shoulders out of the ears. Don't lock the right elbow. Last one, open and close. Set your hand and knee down. Take a nice deep breath. And here we go, other side. Left leg goes out. Option for the right arm to go out. Find your balance, lift your belly. Open the arm and leg out and close it back in. Maybe you're just doing the leg. Open and close. Don't lock that left elbow. Open and close. Last two. And one. Bring it back. Set your hand and your knee down. Open your knees out nice and wide. Sink back into your child's pose. Nice deep breaths. Coming back up onto your knees, we're going to do a little bit more oblique work. Coming all the way up, shift to one side of your mat. One leg is going to go straight out to the side. You have a few options here. You can let the leg be turned out, or you can make it be parallel. Just choose what feels best in your hip for today. Lift your belly up and in. We're going to take both hands behind your head. How far you go is up to you. I'm going to shift just so you can see me. From here, we're going to inhale, dip that elbow down away from the leg, and exhale, bring it up. You can do this keeping your hips super square where that right hip doesn't lift, the left hip stays stacked directly on top of that knee or whichever side you're doing. Or you can go a little bit further and actually try to touch the ground with your elbow. It's a little bit more aligned and anatomically correct in the smaller version, but if you're not feeling the work, then really push it and go for it. Over, shoulders out of the ears, and lift. Here's 3, 2, over and hold. Go up an inch and down an inch for 5, 4, 3, abs, 2, 1. Bring it all the way up, and we're going to switch to the other side. That other leg goes out. It can be turned out or parallel. Know where your hips are. Either they're going to stay completely stacked over that right knee, or you're going to let them move to get a little bit more motion. The less your hips move, the more you're going to feel this. Hands behind your head. We go over. Maybe your hips don't move at all. Maybe you keep it small. Maybe you push it a little further and your hips move a little bit, but don't exaggerate that movement. Over and lift. Stay flat, like you're in between two panes of glass. Don't rotate towards the floor. Keep that top elbow pointing straight up to the ceiling. We have 3. Here's 2. Last one. Hold it. Little pulses up and down for 5, 4. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Bring it all the way up. Bring that leg back in. We are going to come all the way up to standing to finish out today. Feet come back to hip distance apart. Arms are heavy by your sides. Take a nice deep breath in as you sweep your arms up to the ceiling. Nice long reach. Lower the arms back down. Soften your knees. Soften your toes. Chin to chest. Roll it forward. One vertebrae at a time. Let those knees soften. Nice deep breaths. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Try to sink deeper as you exhale. Nod your head a little bit. Yes. A little bit no. Relax the neck. Long inhale to prepare. Head and arms are heavy. Exhale, belly button to spine. Slowly roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Standing tall at the top. Give your shoulders a couple rolls. Open the chest. Very nice work today, everyone. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you check out all of our other events on Facebook Live. I will see you all soon.